Are you going on Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas and you don't want to be lost right when you first get on the ship? If so, then this video is for you. I'll take you to all the places you'll spend most of your time while you're cruising on her. Let's go. As always, there's chapters down below, so if you want to skip ahead to a part of the ship that you're more interested in, feel free to do it. Welcome to the Navigator of the Seas. We'll start this walking tour off on deck number 5 in the Royal Promenade. Then we'll head down one deck to deck 4 and walk through the Casino Royale. Then down to deck 3 for Studio B and the ice skating rink. Then back up to deck number 4 and walk around the outside of the promenade up to the helipad on deck number 5. Then we'll head up to deck number 11, the pool deck. Then deck number 12, the pool overlook. Then deck number 13 and visit the mini golf course, the water slides, and the sports court. Then we'll finish it off with deck number 14 and the Viking Crown Lounge. Welcome to deck number 5 forward and the Royal Promenade. Up in front of us is Playmakers, which is the sports bar that is on Navigator of the Seas, and we'll take a look inside of her in a few seconds. Up here on the left is the Cafe Promenade. This is where you can find slices of pizza, sandwiches, pastries in the morning, coffee, and Starbucks style drinks like frappuccinos and lattes. All of it is included in your cruise fare with the exception of the specialty coffee drinks. Now let's take a look inside Playmakers. As I said, Playmakers is a sports bar. There are TVs with sporting events all over the place. There's pool tables. There are even old school video games. There's a foosball table and all sorts of other things to do. The food in Playmakers is not included, but they do have some very good bar food like chicken wings and nachos and hamburgers and so on. This is a very popular bar, especially if there's a major sporting event or it's later in the evening. On the right hand side is the Copper and Clover, which is the British style pub on Navigator, and on the left side is to drive for. It is a barber shop on the Royal Promenade. Now, yes, they do hairstyling and all that as well for both men and women, but it is the only one that is actually on the Royal Promenade on Royal Caribbean. Up in front of us is the Copper and Clover, which is the British style pub. It has live music in the evening, and they do have a whole bunch of different beers. However, they are all in cans and bottles. They will have maybe 1 or 2 beers on tap. Playmakers is a much better choice for draft beer. In front of us here is the Casino Royale entrance that will take you down a deck to the actual casino. And as we walk through here, there are stores all the way down on the right and left hand side where you can get pretty much anything you need for the cruise, as well as logoed merchandise, jewelry, purses, watches, pretty much anything you can think of on a cruise ship. In front of us is the Bamboo Room. This is a tiki style bar on Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas. They do have some very tropical inspired drinks. This is the very popular bar in the evening. It's also, if you sign up for the specialty drink tastings, this is where you will find the tropical drink tasting. As we proceed forward, you can see here is the Voom desk. If you have any questions about your onboard internet access or anything related to that, that's where you would go ask. Now we're entering the Centrum on Navigator of the Seas. And off to the left-hand side is where you will find the shore excursion desk, where you can sign up for shore excursions, change your shore excursion, cancel your shore excursion, pretty much anything shore excursion related. And here is guest relations, which is open 24/7, and you can go there and basically ask any question you want about the cruise, talk about charges to your account, and so on. Across the way is the R Bar. The R Bar is a typical cruise ship bar that serves both classic and modern drinks. Here's the main bank of elevators on the Navigator of the Seas that we're walking between. And up in front of us is the main dining room. The main dining room offers complimentary breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. There are some really nice ocean views, and as you can see, it's multi-storied. Now let's head down to deck number 4. In front of us is the specialty dining restaurant Hooked. Hooked is an extra fee restaurant, and it is a seafood restaurant. If you like seafood, this is definitely worth the extra expense because they have lobster, fish, shrimp, all sorts of seafood dishes, including mussels. And across from Hooked is the Schooner Bar. The Schooner Bar is a staple on all Royal Caribbean ships. It's a classic piano bar. At night, someone will be playing the piano. Sometimes they have other musicians come in and play as well. And they have several specialty drinks that are in all the Schooner Bars. They do trivia here sometimes and some of the other events as well. Very, very popular bar on all of Royal Caribbean's ships. Up ahead is the Casino Royale. Think a very small Las Vegas casino crammed into a cruise ship. They have slot machines, roulettes, blackjack, poker, craps, pretty much all the mainstays of a typical Las Vegas casino. Up in front of us on the right-hand side is Boleros. This is a Latin-themed bar, and they have dancing and live music at night. Very, very popular. It's also probably one of the best places to get a margarita on Navigator of the Seas. As you can see, this is the entrance to the main dining room on deck number 4. And crossing over to the other side of the ship is where you will find Starbucks. Nothing here at Starbucks is free. It's all an extra charge. You can use your Starbucks card. However, you cannot use stars to get free beverages. Heading down to deck number 3 is where we will find Studio B. Studio B is where the ice skating rink is for the ice shows that are on Navigator of the Seas. It also has open skating on some days where you can go and skate on an ice rink on a cruise ship. Just keep in mind, you do have to have long pants on and socks, or they will not let you skate. They do provide the skates for you. The ice on this rink is very, very wet. So if you do fall down, you will get wet from the ice. It is definitely a very warm ice skating rink. Also on this deck, you will find Focus, which is where you can go look at all the photos the photographers on the ship have taken of you. They also sell GoPro accessories and things like that down here. Welcome to deck number 4. So we went back up a deck. Now we're going to go outside to the traditional promenade that you find on cruise ships. This is basically a outside covered area that you can walk all the way around the ship. There's also shuffleboard on this deck, and they do provide all the equipment that you need. And if you're looking to get to the helipad, you have to come out on deck 4, go towards the front of the ship, and walk up these stairs to get up to deck 5 so that you can go up onto the pad. By the way, if you are up here for sailaway or going in and out of ports, it's absolutely gorgeous and you have amazing views. And looking back, you can see the bridge of the ship, which is where the ship is controlled from. Okay, so let's head down the starboard side of the ship and go back inside on deck number 4. Welcome to deck number 11 forward and the solarium. Before we explore the solarium, there's a little area here that you can go outside and look out. If you can get here early in sailaway, you will have this place to yourself, but it does get pretty crowded if you wait to the last minute. Now let's take a walk through the solarium. The solarium is an adult-only area on Navigator of the Seas. There's a pool in here. There's a bar. Is a hot tub. And basically, it's an escape for adults to have a little peace and quiet on the ship. They have lounge chairs and comfortable regular chairs with some nice padding. And here's a look at the pool. And right up in front of us is the solarium bar. And here's one of the 2 hot tubs. Okay, let's head into the main area. And up in front of us is one of the 2 main pools. These pools are basically touching each other with a very small strip of a raised platform in between. They're both relatively the same size. And as you can see, there's lounge chairs in the water where it's shallow, and then there's a deeper section in the middle, and both sides are exactly the same when it comes to that. You can also see the Jumbotron, and up above that is where the Viking Crown Lounge is, along with Azumi, the Japanese-themed specialty restaurant. And here is the Lime and Coconut Bar, which serves lime and coconut drinks, which are fantastic, by the way, but they also serve other tropical drinks, beer, everything you would find at a regular bar. As you can see, there are lounge chairs everywhere, and there's even some tables off to the side that you can sit at, and more comfortable couches with tables, and a nice view of the ocean. Up in front of us is El Loco Fresh, which is the Mexican restaurant that's on Navigator. It is included with your cruise fare. They have everything from burritos to nachos to tacos, pretty much everything you can think of that you would find at a Mexican restaurant. They also have a salsa bar for putting different salsas on your food. All right, let's head back inside. And up in front of us is the Windjammer, which is the included buffet that's pretty much on every single Royal Caribbean ship. Also in this area, you will find Chop's Grill and Jamie's Italian, which are two specialty dining restaurants. Off to the right-hand side here is where you will find Chop's Grill. Chop's Grill is a upscale steakhouse that serves pretty much any type of cut of meat you can think of. And up in front of us is Jamie's Italian. Jamie's Italian is one of my favorite Italian restaurants on Royal Caribbean. Its menu was done by Chef Jamie Oliver, and it's an Italian restaurant. One thing that's really interesting about Jamie's is they have grappa available for drinking, and it's the only place I've ever found that on Royal Caribbean. Now let's take a look at the Windjammer's buffet. Okay, heading back out onto the regular deck. Let's go back outside and walk up the other side of the ship. On this side, you will find Johnny Rockets, which is right across from El Loco Fresh. Johnny Rockets is the same on the ship as you would find on land. It's a 1950s style diner that serves burgers, fries, and shakes. They are an extra cost. They are not included with your cruise fare. As you can see, there's quite a bit of seating here once you get your Johnny Rockets food. And here's a closer look at one of the pools. As you can see, it's basically the same as it is on the other side of the ship. And here is a look at one of the hot tubs. And up ahead is the soft serve station. This is where you can get soft ice cream. They have chocolate, vanilla, and swirl. Okay, let's head back into the solarium again. And here's a closer look at one of the hot tubs in the solarium. Welcome to deck 12 and the pool overlook deck. This is also where you will find the walking/jogging track. You can also find the second story of the lime and coconut up here. What's nice about this one is it gets you away from the pools, and there are all these seats up here that you can sit in and look out over the pool or look out over the ocean while you're enjoying your drinks. And here's a better look at the two pools. As you can see, they're pretty much identical with that little S curve in between the two of them. Also on this deck, there are these cabanas, these little house-like structures. You can actually rent these. They are very expensive on sea days, but they're fairly reasonably priced on port days. And here's a look at another hot tub. This one is nice because it looks out over the pools down below. Okay, let's head up to the third story of the lime and coconut. This is right above the lime and coconut bar, and it's pretty much just a raised platform with seating. You can look out over the pools, both the solarium pool and the main pool, and it's a great place to soak up some sun if that's what you're into. It can get extremely hot up here in the daytime. However, in the evening when it cools down, it's a great place to come and just stare up at the stars. Now let's head to the other side of the solarium and make our way up to the Navigator Dunes, which is on the same deck that we are just on above the lime and coconut, which is deck 13. And up here, there's all sorts of seating and walls to block the wind. But just like the top floor of the lime and coconut, it can get extremely hot up here if it's sunny out and it's warm out. And here is the 9-hole mini golf course that's on Navigator of the Seas. If you look at the actual putting surfaces, they are somewhat loose. You can see bumps in them. So the balls, when you putt them, don't go straight by any means, but it is a fun escape and something to do on a sea day. The putters are made out of rubber coating, and the balls are not real golf balls. And if the wind is really strong, they can actually blow the ball around on the greens. However, it is an enjoyable thing to do if you don't have anything else to do on the ship. All right, let's work our way to the back of the ship in deck 13, specifically the sports court, the water slides, and the flow rider, and the rock climbing wall. You'll find everything sports related back here on deck 13. Up in front of us is the sports court. This is where you can play some basketball, volleyball. They do pickleball in here. Sometimes they do dodgeball. Basically, any sport that requires the balls to be contained and not go overboard is where you would do that. Table tennis, and up above is the rock climbing wall. What's really nice about this rock climbing wall is when you're actually climbing it, you have an amazing view of the ocean. Let's continue to head aft and take a look at the water slides. This slide on the right-hand side here is called the Blaster. It is actually an aqua roller coaster, and it happens to be the longest water slide on a cruise ship. So basically, two people sit in like a roller coaster car that's inflated, and water jets push you up the hills and you go down the hills. It's literally a roller coaster in water. And here is the Flow Rider. The Flow Rider is where you go if you want to practice surfing or boogie boarding. You can do both. And the lines can get pretty long for this, depending on the time of day and the weather. And up on this side is the Riptide water slide. This water slide, you go down head first on a mat, and it is the only one on a cruise ship where you go head first on a mat. Okay, let's head on up to deck number 14 and Azumi and the Viking Crown Lounge. Azumi is the Japanese specialty dining restaurant on Navigator of the Seas. This is one of our favorite specialty restaurants. The sushi is very, very fresh. The ramen is great. Everything about it is outstanding. And you can get Japanese beers and sake here. Okay, heading out of Azumi, up on the right-hand side is the escape room. So there is an escape room on Navigator of the Seas. It is an extra cost, but you can book it, and you will be put in the room with other guests until they fill it. And then, just like any other escape room, your goal is to get out of the room. Up in front is the Viking Crown Lounge. This is an amazing place to come and sit on a couch and just look out over the ship and the ocean. There's also a bar up here. There's a DJ. There's a dance floor. They have all sorts of events at night up in this area. But during the day, it's nice and quiet, and it's an amazing place just to relax and get out of the heat. Okay, let's take a look at the Royal Theater. We're going to enter the Royal Theater on deck number 3. The Royal Theater is where all the main shows are. The music, the dancers, the guest entertainers, the comedians, and the Welcome Aboard show. Now let's go up to deck number 5 in the front of the ship, and it's where you will find the Star Lounge as well as the Crown Lounge. I'll take you inside the Crown Lounge in a second. This lounge is where you can find live music. There's a dance floor, there's a bar. They do karaoke in here. This is basically a space that they use for all sorts of things. A lot of times they'll do the shopping talks in there. They'll do shore excursion talks. Pretty much anything that they need a room for, they'll do in there. And this is the Crown Lounge. This is not to be confused with the Viking Crown Lounge. This is the lounge that is for the Crown and Anchor members that are diamond level or higher. They have a coffee machine in here, pastries and snacks throughout the day. All right, let's take a look up at the Vitality at Sea Spa. This is on deck 12 forward. It is a full service spa. They do massages, haircuts, facials, mani-pedis, pretty much acupuncture, anything you can think of, Botox, IV stuff, everything you can think of, they do in the spa. And Kat and I decided to get a mani-pedi when we were here. And when you first get in, they seat you in this little waiting room area until the person that's going to work on you is available. And then they take you into the room where they will do whatever treatment that you selected. All right, we only have two more things to look at. The first one is the next cruise area, which is on deck 6 midships. This is where you can book future Royal Caribbean or Celebrity cruises, and they usually have an incentive like a reduced deposit or cabin credit or something like that. Sometimes they'll even give you a bottle of champagne on certain days. Usually on embarkation day, if you book a cruise, they'll give you a free bottle of champagne. And lastly, the library and card room, which is on deck 7, right above next cruise. There are books you can borrow in here to read, and there's also lots of card tables with board games that you can borrow and just relax and have some fun. What a unique ship, with the 2 water slides that you can't find anywhere else on any other ship, and a barber shop on the Royal Promenade, which, by the way, I did get my hair cut there. It was a little weird sitting in a barber chair looking out over the Royal Promenade and feeling like I was some sort of an exhibit with people staring in. He's getting his hair cut in there. Yeah, Navigator of the Seas was definitely one, if not my top Voyager class ship for Royal Caribbean. It was outstanding. If you like the walking tour, why not come along with us when we actually go on a cruise on Navigator of the Seas? We start in LA and we go down south through the Pacific to Cabo and a few other stops. When it's available, episode 1 will be right here. See you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.